Welcome to a new anime review series. This is the first episode anime review for Overlord. Yep. The series itself came out, started originally as a light novel series. hmm Yes, a light novel series, which was adapted into a manga, which I'm sure for some people they weren't exactly very surprised about that because that's what generally happens when it comes to stuff like this. Now, the light novels themselves started back in 2012. So yeah, they only run for 6 years. At this point, anyway, 6 years. Next year would be 7 years since the first light novel was released. Yep, and the last one I think just came out just recently. Yes, the 13th one just came out just early this year. Yeah. Now, unlike, let's say, with High School DxD, where its light novels have never seen English release, Overlord has. The first 10 novels have been officially, well, the first 8 have been officially released over here. The next one comes out next month. The site I read, which is kind of the same site I use to read the High School DxD light novels, and I'm reading stuff on this site to get myself into basically watch this show. The manga itself started back in 2015, which is the same time. Actually, started in 2014, about a year before the start of the anime. Now, the anime itself aired from July to September of 2015, and it aired for 13 episodes. And of the 13 light novels, yeah, they'll have 13 released. This one adapted the first 3. The first light novel of the series was adapted for the first 4 episodes of the anime and the first 4 chapters of the manga. The second one was episodes 5 through 9, manga, chapters 5 through 9. In the case of volume 3, this one was adapted for episodes 10 to 13, and for the manga, it'll be at chapters 10 to 14. Now, what's the story of Overlord? The main character of the series is a guy named Mansell, I think his name is. Mongolia, I think it's pronounced the guy's name. Yeah, he later changed his name to Ons after a battle he has with a group of soldiers. Yeah, simply put, this was originally an RPG game, and from what I've read online, apparently this guy is actually from the future. Yeah, he's actually from about 100 years in the future, and from what I've read about him, apparently the world out in the real world, in the world this guy comes from, apparently the atmosphere is very toxic, and his mother died prior to the series. I'm like, does that remind you of another character for series who actually had his mother die prior to events of the series? Yeah, Tokyo Ghoul. Same kind of thing. Yep. So the guy was all by himself, and apparently the guy is a graduate from elementary school, but it's never definitive exactly how old this guy is. And this guy's face, from when I looked up online, his face has never been shown. The only picture of him, heck, even the manga it's like this as well. The only picture of him is basically when he's in the how he logs into this thing. Now, it's not like you go on a computer and log into this thing. Oh no, it's a VR game. Yes, I'm not kidding about this. It's a VR game. How? Headset, visual stuff. And so the thing starts out on the last day of the thing being in operation for 12 years. So, like, everybody left, and he was last to make Guildmaster. I should point out this guy's appearance is a giant skeleton. And apparently he's a necromancer, but his designation is a leech. Yeah, but he's a necromancer. And he's got himself some guardians. A good, 6 or 7 of them. The leader of them, who he basically decided to change the programming from her being a slut to being in love with him, is a succubus. Yes, a smoking hot succubus. Yep, which after the whole change thing that happens where he thinks the thing is going to shut down, but then gets sent to another world, yeah, he sends everybody off to do various things but has a big stay, and the first thing he does with her is that he touches her face, her shoulder, and then he says, can I touch your chest? And she's like, yeah. And he starts groping her for a good 3 minutes. And then, by the way, this happens also in the light novel and the manga. Him groping her. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I don't mind this at all. Yeah. I mean, he is the boss. He can do whatever he wants. The other floor guardians, which are not introduced in the first episode, not introduced until the end of the episode. The guardian, now, there are basically 10 floors this place. But there's one guardian not introduced in the second episode. And that's the character of Pandora's Actor, who is a shapeshifter who wears a neo-Nazi uniform, wears a mask, and apparently he salutes. Excuse me. I should point out, though, I watched the dub for the show, dub by Funimation. His dub actor, Pandora's Actor, fantastic character this guy is. His dub actor is one of my favorite dub actors, Eric Vale. Awesome. Yeah, it seemed like he just had a blast playing this character, just like how he does with all the other characters I've seen play, like playing Sanji from One Piece, or Phoenix Wright from Ace Attorney, of course, also Future Trunks from the Dragon Ball Z franchise. But I think he's had a lot of fun with this character. Despite the fact, in the first season, he only appears for he first appears in episode 11. He's absent for episode 12, but he does appear also for the final episode. Doesn't get his speaking lines, but it's always great to see this guy. Who are the other guardians? Well, we have Shelter Ear, who is a vampire. Yes, a vampire. Who she has sort of a friendly ride with Albedo over their love over the main character of the series. Yep. Oh yeah, and there's also constant complaint. Also, let's just say complaining in a way about how Albedo's got about their. Yeah, these two women also now complain about who the rivalry over their love for Oz, but also over their chest size. Yes, these two would fight over their chest size. Who's got the bigger chest? Yep. I'm not kidding. These two would seriously fight over this nonsense. Yeah. Ans basically is voiced by a guy named Chris Guerrero. Don't know who this guy is? Yeah. No idea. We also have, now Albedo is voiced by an actress named Elizabeth Maxwell. Do not know who this woman is at all. I have found no information on this woman. We have Saltier, voiced by Felicia Angeli, who I've seen her in a few series. Let's see. In High School DxD, she actually was the woman who killed the main character and started him the whole thing in that series. Yeah, one of the last series I reviewed. She was also on Fairy Tail as the character Coco. D. Grayman as the character Fu. Well, personality is very similar to Fu, except this was more flamboyant. My Hero Academia, she voices the Invisible Girl. I'm not kidding, she seriously does. On Attack on Titan, she appears for a couple episodes in that series. On DBC Kai, I haven't watched the episode yet, but she appears a character named Sono. Let's see. She was also on a show called Dragon Academy, which I have watched. I think I've never reviewed it though. She also voices Panoria. Yep, Panoria, the Ghost Girl. She was also on Tokyo Ghoul, voicing a character named Haru. Only appeared in like one episode. Yeah. Now, who are the other floor guardians? We have. Now, Shelter is the guardian of floors 1 through 3. Albedo is the guardian of them. We have Doomerlage, who's the guardian of the 7th floor. And he's voiced by a guy named Jeff Johnson. Kaiutus, who's basically kind of looks like something from Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it looks like a freaking demon. He's voiced by a guy named Brian Messi. I only know him as the guy who voiced as the only character I know this guy has voiced is Dick Gumshoe from Ace Attorney. Yeah, it's the same guy. Let's see. The 6th floor actually has 2 guardians. A sister duo, Aurora and Mary, voiced by Joe Harris and Megan Shippen. And the other two we We have Gargantua, which I don't think this one's introduced in the show yet. No, the Guardians of the 8th and 4th floor have not been introduced in the show yet. I do not know why. They just were not introduced at all. It's really weird. Yep. Now, over the course of the stuff that happens in the first book, they have after they arrive in the new world, and of course after the groping scene, like they have the butler of the group goes outside to see what the surroundings look like because they don't know what the thing looks like outside, and it's a barren wasteland. Yeah. Then, of course, Oz puts on special armor, which he uses for pretty much the rest of the first season, though he uses it very prominently in the second book and the third book. I think he used it for pretty much the rest of the series, but in the manga, I'm only up to basically with that to book 6. The manga, the light novels, I've only read up to book 3 so far. So I don't know. I don't remember exactly what happens in books. I remember some of the stuff that was adapted for books 4 through 6, like some of the Liz people. Yeah, that's something for another video to talk about before it comes to them. Though it is set up for them in here. So they see a village get attacked. A village called Crane Village, which this village is seen frequently in the anime. Yeah, they constantly go to this village because it's the closest village near them. From what I read online, this village is 10 kilometers from the Great Tomb of Nazarak, is basically what they call the place. The name Azal Ghul, Gangul, this is also the name of the guild, but he took the name as basically the official name. And when he went to the place, he took Albedo with him, and she put on this black armor, and you can easily tell it's a woman anyways, but you don't see her face until like a little bit later. As for Oz, he doesn't put on armor per se, he just goes out as he normally dressed. Open shirt, skull hands, skull face, kills a bunch of guys, saves a woman and her sister, who is later revealed that a pharmacist friend of hers is in love with her. I should point out the pharmacy is a lot different in this universe than it is in the regular one. And the way the technology is, and he's pointed out by a later episode, that in this season, mind you, it's equivalent of medieval Europe. Yeah, that's equivalent technology, even though that when they show one of the characters in their city, it looks like 18th century Europe. Or at least 19th century Europe with a modern style houses, whatnot. It could be a mix of several different technologies when it comes to particular series. Yep. And then pretty much like he resurrects one of the guys he killed, becomes a gigantic like undead zombie warrior, and he tells the guy, kill anybody wearing this outfit. And then he decides to zip up his outfit, put a pair of gauntlets on and a mask to cover himself, because he correctly points out though that yeah, people will be frightened by his appearance, which any person would. So he saves the village. Now, the scene that I have later on, basically in the montage, this is actually done over the course of a good portion of a chapter in the book after he saves the village. And his warrior chief shows up, which in the book they refer to him as warrior captain. In the dub, they refer to him as warrior chief. Okay, it's a little better, but I don't have a problem with it. Yeah, this guy only shows up just for this one. He shows up maybe about 3 episodes this entire season, and that's it. He shows up even the final episode of it. I gotta say, from the first novel wise, they kind of trim some down. They cut some stuff out, like mostly to cut some dialogue scenes, and it's a little more quicker to get through this particular light novel. And the second one, from what I could tell, they kept a good portion of this one in, and they kept a good meat of it in. They also introduced a group of at least 5 characters who he was. This is of course when Oz has become Mammon, where in the armor he takes one of his battle maids with him, named Natu, and she, like Albedo, doesn't like humans at all. Yeah, they established this pretty early on. For instance, insects, whatever. He basically has to keep her in control. Now, one thing, I'm a little surprised they cut this one out, like her reaction now in the light novel, when she was about to attack a particular human, as Mammon, just bopped her on the head. Yeah, very light tap. In the manga, it almost looks like she was going to cry. Here, she doesn't give a reaction at all. She's a little upset by it, but she is not crying about it. I think she does this also in the manga as well, but I'm a little surprised they changed this scene. I mean, it's mostly the same, except for her reaction is a little different. She's more upset. She's not crying about being hit in that, being bopped in the head. Yeah. And of course, there is a character introduced in this book, in these set episodes, who does come back for the later on in the season. And then after this, I looked online. Apparently, she does return for book 8, but I'm not going to reveal what happens to her in that particular book. But she disappears for quite some time. Disappears for at least for 4 books. She disappears. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but that's the way it is. Yeah, she only appears for about 3 books. Well, actually, she appears for like 4 overall for the whole entire series. Yeah, interesting. Like redhead, one of 2 redheads in the series. Of course, the other redhead shows up at the end of the 13th episode. Yeah, and then the villain of this particular set of episodes is a woman named Lady Clementine, who apparently has connections to a necromancy cult and kidnaps a pharmacist, who happens to be the grandson of a famous pharmacist, and of course they have it where Oz basically battles her, and the way he kills her is quite bizarre. Even the manga light novel, this is bizarre. How he killed her? He killed her by squeezing her to death. Yeah, puts his hand like around her lower back and starts squeezing her with just bare strength. Yeah, in the light novel, it's a lot more gruesome, and I'm kind of glad they actually kind of changed the scene a little bit to the point where it looked like she was basically being squeezed, and she's spitting out blood, and some of her teeth are falling out. I'm so glad they trimmed down this scene because in the light novel, this was disgusting. The way the writer himself sort of described this particular scene of how she was almost spitting out her own organs. I'm like, seriously, dude, what the heck is your problem? Not even the manga did this. I mean, manga did have like a reaction to her, but at least they'd have it described basically her organs come out of her freaking throat. That was disgusting. Yeah, it's a very brutal way to kill somebody, but I have never seen a character killed this way before in an anime. I've seen characters get stabbed, shot, I've seen get sliced in half, but never squeezed to death. With an arm. Yeah, I'm like, almost like to a hug. That's what it looks like it's both in the manga and the light novel. Yeah, but it's almost kind of like a bear hug. Yeah, it's very much that's what it is. It's pretty much a bear hug. Except a bear hug requires 2 arms squeezing. This is a one-handed bear hug, which is a bit unusual, but my guess is the reason why he did it for 1 arm, because she's a very slim woman. Oh, and how he tracks her down. Yeah, she had killed a handful of people he was working with on a previous mission to protect this pharmacist's son. And he also goes to Carney Village. He runs into, well, the woman he loves. Though she doesn't really know the fact that, I think she's kind of oblivious to the fact that he's in love with her. Yeah, and this kid, mind you, has his hair growing where it's not like he's growing bangs per se, but it covers up his eyes. Which, I'm thinking though, how the heck can this guy see when his hair is literally covering up his eyes? And apparently, the way when he sort of like moves eye, just apparently his hair moves by itself, which is kind of weird. And here's the thing: he's the only one not from Nazareth who does know that Monman is Oz, because the way that Aaron basically described him. Yeah. Oh yeah, they even have skeletal dragons in here, and yeah, it's from what I can tell for this one, they did keep a lot in this one, and they kind of added in where it's revealed via communication. Now they did cut out one scene. This scene, I'm not happy they cut this one out, because yeah, this would be funny to include in the anime. Yeah, well, Oz is in another room. They have it where Nabu contacts Abito via these bunny ears. Yeah, this is how people they communicate with, bunny ears. And now in the light novel, it describes like they apparently are sharing a room together, but not sharing a bed. And Albedo goes freaking nuts over it. Also, Albedo does something really funny here. While Oz is off on adventures, She is sleeping in his bed, apparently covering her, she's sleeping in his bed butt naked, and she apparently has a body pillow made of him. I'm like, okay, that I can kind of believe happening, but how did she take the time to make this body pillow? But her sleeping in, basically her laying in his bed when she's butt naked. I'm like, lady, if I was this guy Oz, I'm like, okay, I programmed this woman to be in love with me, and I'm like, dang, I'm getting a piece of that. That's what I probably would do, but yeah, but and they also trimmed out little moments where they cut the line of dialogue when from the first portion when they have the first light novel where he basically tells her he's not upset with her being angry and be very overprotective of him. Yeah, not upset. It's fine. He's happy that she did that. In the anime, there's no mention of it at all, which is kind of weird. Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I thought was a little odd about the anime was the fact they cut out good dialogue scenes. Like cut out some sense of dialogue for some reason. Um, but as far as I can tell, scenes wise, especially from the first one, nothing was cut out for that one. Second one, with the exception of one scene, mostly kept a lot of stuff in. The third one, from what I could tell, kept pretty much everything in, from what I can tell. Though when they had him battle Sheltair in the final episodes, she put on armor that looked almost exactly like the armor from Ice Go DXC, except it's pink. And she got possessed by this world item. Yeah, it's particularly very weird. Oh yeah, and her resurrection scene in the show, yeah, it's the same thing as in the light novel and the manga. And she was butt naked after Oz pretty much killed her. Mm-hmm. Yep, after he killed her and resurrected her, yeah, butt naked, and apparently she became flat-chested. Yeah, as for how in the world her breasts got the way they were in the show, never explained. Yeah, as for how old she is, she looks like she's probably about in her 20s, I'd say. Albeit, it looks like a woman she's probably in her late 20s, early 30s. Heck, there's two twins, elves. They're in their mid 70s, despite that look like they're little girls. The Guardian of Floor 7, he looks like a guy probably in his mid 30s. As for the Guardian of the 5th floor, the one that looks like a freaking demon, unknown what this guy's age is, but the guy talks with a street. He talks like he's from the streets. Like he's very loud and bombastic. Now, those of you curious though, Funimation production, is Christopher Sabat in this series? Yes. As a bartender for one episode. I'm not kidding. That's series what the guy does for this particular season. He shows up for one episode and that's it. I'm like, really, Christopher Sabat? Instead of voicing one of the other characters, you voice a character who appears for like 5 minutes? I guess because the Funimation series, the dub production, it's probably like, okay, you guys squeeze him in somehow. So let's give him this one character who only appears just one scene, that's it. Now, I do know that Klein Clickenbeard appears in the series, though she voices a character who is known for having a flat chest, as it were. I haven't got to the point in light novels to read about her yet. From what I've over her, yeah, apparently people have come mistaken for a man. As we taught Peppercorn, he doesn't do any voice work for this particular series. Ian St. Clair does, and I haven't got to him yet. But yeah, Ian St. Clair is in this series. He does voice the character later on. Peppercorn is probably the only one I can think of who I've seen in a lot of Funimation productions, and he's not here. Not even Sonny Surratt is not. He's not even in this series either. Which I'm thinking, that's weird. No Sonny Surratt, but like, yeah. When I watch any Funimation productions, these are generally actors I generally see in a lot of these Funimation productions. Christopher Bond, Colin Clickenbeard, Eric Fail, Todd Peppercorn, Ian St. Clair, and occasionally Patrick Stoltz. I'd say all but 2 were in this series. Yeah, just Stoltz and yeah, Patrick Stoltz and Ty Peppercorn, the only 2 people I can think of who are not in this series at all, which is kind of weird. And just by sheer coincidence, in Black Clover, Eric Vale's voicing character on there as well. Yep. And pretty much everybody else I just named, yeah, they're all in this series. So Peppercorn actually does voice the character in this series, but it's a character that only appears for 3 episodes. And he's a terrible character anyways. Not much else to say. Fantastic first season. Yeah, and here's something really weird though. Apparently, the next season will not air for 3 years. But in order to keep people occupied with Overlord. Oh, and by the way, the studio who made this series was Madhouse, the same company that did Death Note, the 2011 Hunter x Hunter series, and a few Marvel films. I did the Marvel Rise of Technivore and the Marvel anime stuff. Yeah. Also, for some reason, I have no idea why this is. Apparently, like about 50% of the fight scenes in here are done via CGI, which I'm thinking that's a little weird, especially for Madhouse. Of course, I'm not sure how it is for the following two seasons because I haven't watched it because I want to read them. I want to watch them after I read the volumes that they adapt. But what the heck is up with the CGI? As far as I can tell, for other series I've watched from Madhouse, they've never used CGI. The only other series I can think of for anime-wise who actually has used CGI in this series is Attack on Titan. That was with a giant turkey titan. Yep. So there'll be other videos related to this particular series. I mean, not only reviewing seasons 2 and 3, but also give you these pie shorts, the OVAs, and of course there are two compilations, just like Attack on Titan. I'm thinking compilation. What is this? Sunrise? I know Sunrise had a reputation for this for years. Yeah, but these actually contain new material. So cover the next three, the first three OVAs, and the first pure Pilates. This is the battle mates. Yep, and that is only 8 episodes. That's only 8. That'll be episode 2. 3 I'll do on the 2 compilation films, and so forth. You'll get a chance to figure out exactly how it is going to be for the rest of the thing. It's probably going to be a good 10, maybe 12 videos to cover this entire franchise. Okay, but that's it for this particular review. Stay tuned for my review of the 7 Deadly Sins. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about today. My next video for this series is definitely going to be talking about those 3 OVAs and, of course, the shorts. I'm going to watch those soon, and then I'm going to get my thoughts on them. Okay? But to the next video. Bye.